Day 1. I was 37 floors up. Not the best place to be when dead people start eating the living. The Harlow Financial Tower, glass and steel. My desk faced west. I could see the whole downtown sprawl from up there. Used to anyway. Used to see traffic and construction cranes and the slow crawl of normal life. That morning, I saw smoke. Lots of it. Black columns rising from what looked like the warehouse district. Then closer. Then right below on Merchant Street. Phone lines were jammed. Internet died around 9:30. We got snippets, emergency broadcasts that cut off mid-sentence. Someone's radio picked up a loop telling everyone to shelter in place. Stay indoors, await further instructions. The usual shit they tell you when they've already lost control. I'm Dalton Fisk. Was an actuary. Spent my days calculating risk and probability. Funny how none of that math prepared me for this. The screaming started around 10. Not from our floor, below us, maybe 20 floors down. Hard to tell with the way sound carried up the ventilation shafts. High-pitched, desperate. Then it stopped. Too quick, that's what made my stomach drop. When screaming stops that fast, it means something bad happened. Randall from accounting tried the stairwell. Came back white-faced. Said there were people down there. Lots of them. Climbing up, moving wrong. He kept saying that. Moving wrong. Like their joints didn't work right. Like they forgot how bodies were supposed to bend. We barricaded the main door. Pushed desks and filing cabinets. The floor had maybe 30 people. Some wanted to go down anyway. Try to get out. Make a run for it. Tilda from HR said we should wait for rescue. That help was coming. She had 2 kids at home. Kept crying and checking her phone even though nothing would go through. I didn't say much. Just watched the city burn. The power died around noon. Emergency lights kicked in. Pale green glow that made everyone look sick. We had water from the break room, vending machines, coffee maker, not much else. This wasn't a floor set up for long-term anything, just desks and computers and the slow machinery of corporate bureaucracy. The first one got through around hour 3. We heard the scraping first, something dragging against the stairwell door, then pounding, irregular. No rhythm to it. Just impact after impact. The barricade held, but we could see the door bowing inward, metal frame bending. Randall grabbed a fire extinguisher. Couple other guys picked up chair legs we'd broken off. Makeshift clubs. I found a letter opener in my desk. Stupid thin thing. But I held it anyway. Gave my hand something to do besides shake. When the door finally gave way, the thing that came through used to be a woman. Business suit torn open, white blouse soaked red-black. Her jaw hung wrong, dislocated or broken. And her eyes. Clouded over like cataracts, but darker. Gray-white with busted blood vessels spider-webbing through. She didn't run, just walked forward, arms reaching, fingers grasping at air. Making this sound, this wet clicking in the back of her throat. Randall hit her first, fire extinguisher to the side of the head. Solid crack. She went down, but started getting back up. He hit her again, and again, until she stopped moving. Until the skull caved in and something dark leaked out onto the beige carpet. Nobody said anything for a long time. We just stared. At her. At Randall standing there, breathing hard. At the open doorway and the dark stairwell beyond. Tilda threw up in a trash can. That night, we took turns watching the door. The barricade wasn't much anymore. Half collapsed from that first breach. We rebuilt it as best we could, but everyone knew it wouldn't hold against more than a few of those things. I didn't sleep. Sat by the western windows and watched the city die. Fires everywhere now. The streetlights had gone out, just darkness and scattered flames, and once in a while, headlights moving fast down empty streets. Someone trying to get out. Most didn't make it far. I saw a truck crash into a storefront, saw shapes swarming it, shadows moving in the firelight. My wife was out there somewhere. Lenora. We lived in a condo across town. Different direction. She worked from home, freelance graphic design. Last I'd heard from her was a text around 9, before everything collapsed. Just said she was okay. Told me to stay safe. I tried calling back. Nothing went through. I kept telling myself she was fine. Smart woman, resourceful. She'd lock the doors, stay quiet, wait it out. But I didn't believe it. Day 2, the water stopped. Someone tried the taps in the bathroom. Nothing. We had maybe 6 bottles from the vending machine. Couple people had water bottles at their desks. Not enough. Not for 30 people. Not for more than a day or 2. That's when the arguing started. Some wanted to ration, make it last. Others said we needed to leave. Get down to ground level while we still had strength. Find supplies, find help. The stairwell was full of them now. We could hear it. Footsteps. Dozens of them shuffling up and down. Sometimes they'd pound on the door. Test the barricade. We'd go silent. Wait. Eventually they'd wander off. But they always came back. Hector was the first to try leaving. Nice guy. Maintenance worker. He knew the building layout better than anyone. Said there was a service elevator that might still work. Ran on a separate power grid. Emergency backup. It came up through the core. Opened near the server room 3 floors down. He wanted to try it. Said if he could get down, he'd come back with help, with supplies. We just had to give him time. Nobody stopped him. We moved the barricade just enough. He slipped through. Went right instead of toward the main stairs. Toward the access corridor. We waited. 6 hours later, we heard him screaming. Coming from somewhere below. The sound echoed up the shafts, bounced around the empty building. It went on for maybe 3 minutes, then stopped. He didn't come back. By day 3, people were drinking from the toilet tanks. The water was stale, tasted like chemicals, but it was wet. Tilda died that night. Just laid down at her desk and didn't wake up. Heart attack maybe, stress, dehydration, hard to say. We put her in a conference room, shut the door. Nobody wanted to talk about what might happen when she started moving again. 14 people left now. The others had tried different exits, ventilation shafts, windows, the main stairs. None of them made it, or if they did, we never heard back. Spent most of my time at the windows, watching. The fires had mostly burned out. Just smoke now. Thick haze that turned the sunlight orange. The streets below were packed. Bodies everywhere. Some moving, some not. Hard to tell from 37 floors up. There was a parking garage across the way. Multi-level structure attached to a hotel. I could see vehicles in there, cars and trucks and what looked like a camper van. Big, boxy thing, white with blue striping, just sitting there in the gloom. That's when the idea started forming. Get down, get to that garage, find wheels, get out of the city. Simple plan, probably stupid. But sitting up here waiting to die seemed stupider. I started paying attention to the building's layout. We were on the east side. Windows faced the parking structure, maybe 200 feet across. The gap between buildings, too far to jump, even if I was insane enough to try. But there were other ways down. The Harlow Tower had external maintenance platforms, little balconies where window washers would set up their rigs. I'd seen them before. hanging off the sides like metal blisters. They were locked, needed special access. But Hector had left his keys behind, ring of them sitting on his desk. I pocketed them when nobody was looking. Day 4, I told everyone I was checking the eastern offices, seeing if there were supplies we missed. Nobody questioned it. Everyone was too focused on rationing the last bottle of water. Too busy arguing about whether we should try the stairs again. The eastern corridor was dark. Emergency lights had died here, just ambient glow from the windows. I used my phone as a flashlight. Battery was at 12%, had to make it count. Found the maintenance access near the end. Locked door with a red warning sign. Authorized personnel only. I tried Hector's keys. Third one worked. The door opened onto a narrow platform. Metal grating, safety rails, and beyond that, just open air. Wind hit me. Strong gusts that made the platform sway. I grabbed the rail, held tight, looked down. 37 floors of concrete and glass. The street below looked like a model. Tiny cars, tiny bodies, all of it so far away. There was a ladder, bolted to the side of the building. Yellow paint faded and peeling. It went down to the next platform, maybe 20 feet. From there, another ladder and another, all the way to the ground. I stood there for a long time, just breathing, trying to decide if this was brave or just another kind of giving up. The platform creaked, swayed in the wind. I went back inside, grabbed my jacket, found a backpack someone had left behind, stuffed it with the last bag of chips from the vending machine, a warm can of soda, the letter opener. Not much, but it was something. Randall saw me leaving, caught me at the maintenance door. "Where are you going?" His voice was hoarse, dehydrated. "Down." "Through there?" He looked past me at the open door, at the platform and the drop beyond. "You'll die." "Probably." He stared at me, red-rimmed eyes, 3 days of beard growth. "Take me with you." I almost said no. Almost told him it was better if I went alone. Faster, quieter. But looking at him, at the desperation, the same desperation I felt. Okay. We told the others we were scouting, seeing if the platforms led anywhere useful. Most didn't care. Too tired, too defeated. One guy, younger, name was Porter. He wanted to come too. But Randall said no. Said 3 was too many. The platforms might not hold. I think he just didn't want to watch another person die. The first ladder was the worst. Hands shaking, wind pushing. The metal rungs were cold, some of them loose. I focused on one movement at a time. Grip, step, grip, step. Don't look down. Don't think about the fall. Randall came after me. Moving slower, he was heavier, out of shape. The ladder groaned under his weight. We made it to the second platform, rested. My legs were shaking, adrenaline or fear or both. From here, I could see more of the garage. The vehicles were clearer. That camper van was definitely big. Motorhome, maybe. The kind people took cross-country. Long white body. Windows along the sides. It was parked near the edge. 3rd level. Access ramp visible behind it. "There," I pointed. Randall looked, nodded, didn't say anything, saving his breath. The next ladder down was worse. One of the rungs broke when I stepped on it. My foot slipped. For a second, I was hanging by my hands. 35 floors of nothing below. Randall grabbed my jacket, pulled me back against the building. "Careful." "Yeah." We kept going. Each level the wind died down a little. Less exposure. But the sounds got louder. The street noise, moaning, wet shuffling, breaking glass, all of it drifting up from below. Around floor 20, I looked through a window. Saw movement inside. Shapes pressed against the glass, hands smearing. One of them saw me. Started pounding, face mashed flat. Blood and drool streaking down. I kept climbing. My hands were raw by the time we hit floor 10. Blisters forming, palms bleeding. The ladder rungs were slick. Rust or moisture, hard to tell. Each step felt less secure. Randall was struggling, breathing hard. His face was purple, sweat soaking through his shirt despite the cold. "We can rest," I said. "No, keep going." So we did. Floor 5, the ladder ended. Just stopped. Bolts ripped out of the concrete. The platform hung crooked. Bent metal and empty space where the next section should have been. I looked down. Still too high to jump. Maybe 40 feet. Onto concrete. That'd be broken legs at best. But there was a window. Right next to the platform. Big pane of dark glass. Tinted. I couldn't see through it, but the frame looked intact. "We break it," I said. "Climb through. And then? Find another way down." Randall pulled off his jacket, wrapped it around his fist. "Move back." He punched the glass. Once, twice. On the third hit, it cracked. Spiderweb fracture spreading out. He hit it again. Harder. The glass gave way. Chunks falling inward. Sharp pieces still in the frame. I used my jacket to clear them. Made an opening. Climbed through. Inside was dark. Some kind of office space. Cubicles and dead computer monitors. The smell hit me first. Sweet rot. Meat gone bad. My eyes adjusted. Saw shapes on the floor. Bodies. Not moving. Been here a while. Randall came through behind me. Gagging at the smell. We moved quick. Found the door. It was open. The hallway beyond was empty. Emergency lights still on here. Pale green wash over stained carpet. The building felt different this low. Heavier. The weight of all those floors pressing down. And occupied. We could hear them. Somewhere close. Scratching. Footsteps. That wet clicking. We found the stairs. The door was blocked from the other side. Something heavy pressed against it. We shoved. It moved. Inch by inch. Finally, a gap wide enough to slip through. The stairwell was chaos. Bodies piled up on the landings, some fresh, some rotting. Blood everywhere, splashed on the walls, pooled in the corners. The handrails were sticky with it. And them, maybe a dozen, scattered on the stairs, some standing, some sitting, all of them still, until we moved. The first one turned. Young woman, nurse scrubs torn open. Her throat was missing. Just ragged meat and exposed windpipe. She made that sound, that clicking. Took a step toward us. "Go," Randall said. We ran down, jumping over bodies, sliding on blood. More of them started moving, following, slow but persistent. The stairs seemed endless. Each landing looked the same, concrete and metal and that sickly green light. We passed floor 4, floor 3, kept going. A hand grabbed my ankle, one of them on the floor. I hadn't seen it, just dead weight until it wasn't. Fingers digging in, I kicked, slammed my heel into its face. Bone crunched, it let go. Floor 2, floor 1. The ground level door was chained shut, heavy links, padlock. No. Randall pulled at it. Useless. Behind us, the stairwell was filling up. They were piling up on the landing above, reaching, moaning. I looked around, saw another door, basement access. It was open. This way. The basement was flooded, 6 inches of dark water. Sewer smell. Chemicals. The emergency lights didn't reach down here. Just my phone. Battery at 4%. We waded through, water soaking into my shoes. Cold and thick. Things floating in it. Didn't look too close. Found a ramp. Service entrance. It led up. Toward daylight. Real daylight. Gray and hazy, but there. We came out in an alley. Behind the building, dumpsters and loading docks. The air was thick, smoke and rot. But I could breathe, could see sky. Randall collapsed against the wall, heaving, coughing. I looked around. The alley opened onto the street. I could see the parking garage from here, across the way, 200 feet, maybe less. But the street was full, hundreds of them, packed tight, moving slow, a river of dead flesh. Some were fresh, still wearing normal clothes, office wear, jeans and t-shirts. Others were falling apart, skin sloughing off, bones showing through. How do we get across? Randall's voice was barely there. I didn't answer, just watched, looking for a gap, a pattern, something. There wasn't one. They were everywhere. No path through, no way to run fast enough. But the garage, it had levels. The ramps went up, and the top level, open air. I could see vehicles up there, including that motorhome. We go around, I said. Find another way in. We moved along the alley, staying low. The burned-out husk of a delivery truck provided cover. We crouched behind it. I could see the garage entrance. Big opening. Darkness inside. And them. Dozens of them wandering through, in and out. But not as many on the upper levels. There, I pointed. Side entrance. That fire escape. Metal stairs zigzagged up the outside of the garage. Emergency exit. It went all the way to the top. The gate at the bottom was closed, but not locked. Just a chain with no padlock. We waited, watching, timing it. When a cluster of them wandered past, toward the main street, we moved, ran across the gap piece, 20 feet of open ground. My footsteps felt too loud, each one a gunshot. But none of them turned, too focused on whatever they heard in the distance. The chain rattled when I pulled it loose. The sound echoed. I froze. A few of them stopped, turned toward us, milky eyes searching. Climb. Randall shoved me toward the stairs. We went up, fast as we could. The metal stairs clanged under our weight. More of them noticed, started coming, moving toward the fire escape. Second level, third level. We kept going. My lungs burned, legs cramping, but the top was right there. We made it to the fourth level, the top. Open air, concrete and white lines and scattered vehicles, and no zombies. I bent over, hands on knees. Gasping, Randall did the same. Below us, the fire escape rattled. They were climbing, slow and clumsy. Most fell off, tumbled back down, but some made it, kept coming. We had time, not much, but enough. The motorhome was 50 feet away. Big white box on wheels. It looked ancient. 80s maybe. Rust around the wheel wells. Faded blue stripe along the side. But the tires looked intact. No visible damage. I tried the door. Locked. Seriously? Randall was watching the fire escape. They were maybe 2 levels down now. I picked up a chunk of concrete. Leftover construction debris. Smashed the window next to the door. Reached through, found the lock, clicked it open. Inside the motorhome smelled like old cigarettes and mildew. But it was intact. Narrow aisle between cabinets, little kitchen area, table that folded down, bed in the back, driver and passenger seats up front. The keys were in the ignition. You've got to be kidding me. I turned them. The engine coughed, sputtered, died. Come on. I tried again. Same thing. Randall was at the door. They're almost here? I pumped the gas, turned the key. The engine caught. Rough idle. Smoke from the exhaust, but it ran. Get in. Randall climbed up, slammed the door shut. Something hit the side. I looked out. They were here, surrounding us. Hands slapping the metal. Faces pressed against the windows. I put it in gear, gave it gas. The motorhome lurched forward. Slow. So slow. like pushing through mud. We hit the first one. Bumper caught its center mass. It went under, wet crunch. The whole vehicle shuddered. I kept going, aiming for the exit ramp. More of them in the way. I didn't slow down. Just plowed through. Bodies bouncing off, some getting dragged, stuck under the chassis. The ramp was steep. The motorhome's engine screamed. First gear, second, barely moving. But moving. We made it to level 3. Fewer of them here. I picked up speed, swerved around a burned-out sedan, hit the next ramp, level 2. The exit was ahead, daylight beyond, and the street, still packed. But I could see a gap, sort of, between the crowd and the far side. Hold on. I gunned it. The motorhome shot forward. We hit the crowd at 30 miles an hour. The windshield cracked. Body slammed into it. Face mashed against the glass. I swerved. It rolled off. Another one bounced off the hood, then another. The steering wheel fought me. The vehicle was too big, too clumsy. Made for highways, not zombie-packed city streets. But we were moving, pushing through. Bodies piled up against the grill. The engine temperature gauge was climbing. Radiator probably damaged. But it kept running. I took a right, then a left. Following streets I knew. Heading west, away from downtown, toward the outskirts. Randall was pale, gripping the seat, staring straight ahead. "Where are we going?" he finally asked. "Out." "Out where?" "Anywhere that's not here." We drove for an hour, through neighborhoods that looked like war zones. Houses burning, cars crashed, bodies everywhere. The streets started to clear as we got further out, less dense. More space. The motorhome coughed and rattled but kept going. The fuel gauge was at a quarter tank. "We need gas," I said. "I know." We found a station on the edge of town. Little mom and pop place. Pumps out front. Convenience store. The windows were smashed, but it looked empty. I pulled up to a pump, shut off the engine. The silence was sudden. Just wind and distant sounds. Fires, maybe screams. Far off. "I'll pump. You check inside." I looked at Randall. He nodded. The pump still worked. Electricity was out, but there was a manual override. I got it flowing. Watched the numbers climb. Watched the road. Nothing moved. Randall came out with his arms full. Chips, bottled water, beef jerky, a couple cans of soup. He dumped it all in the motorhome. Went back for more. I kept pumping. The tank was huge. Taking forever. That's when I saw it. Movement down the road. Not them. A truck. Big Ford F-250. Black. Driving fast. It blew past the gas station. Didn't even slow down. Other survivors. The pump clicked off. Tank full. I replaced the nozzle. Looked toward where the truck had gone. Just empty road now. Randall came out with more supplies. Motor oil, a first aid kit, lighter fluid, matches. "Good?" he asked. "Yeah, let's go." We kept west. The city fell away behind us. Suburbs, then strip malls, then nothing. Just open land. Scrub brush and dirt and straight roads disappearing into haze. The sky was doing something weird. Orange around the edges. Purple higher up. Smoke, maybe. Or just the way light looked now. Like the world had shifted tones. Gone off color. We passed abandoned cars. Dozens of them. Some crashed, some just stopped. Doors open. Nobody inside. Blood on the seats. Around dusk, the motorhome started making a new sound. Grinding from somewhere under the hood. The temperature gauge was red-lined. Steam coming out from under the hood. "We need to stop," Randall said. "I know." But there was nowhere. Just flat desert. No buildings, no cover. Then I saw it. Off the road. Maybe a mile out. Structure low against the horizon. Too geometric to be natural. I turned off the highway. onto dirt. The motorhome bounced and rattled. Suspension shot, but we made it. It was a garage. Old cinder block building. Garage door rusted shut. Windows covered with plywood. Satellite dish on the roof. Probably some old repair shop. Long abandoned. I parked behind it, out of sight from the road. Killed the engine. It died with a shudder and a hiss. We sat there, not talking. Just breathing, listening. Nothing but wind. We made it, Randall said. Yeah. Now what? I looked at the motor home, at the cracked windshield and dented hood, at the bodies still stuck in the grill. Now we make this thing last. We spent the next hour checking the building. The garage door was stuck, but there was a side door. Unlocked. Inside was dark. I used my phone light. Battery at 2%. The space was bigger than it looked. Work bay, tool benches, shelves with parts and supplies, everything covered in dust and sand, but intact. And in the back corner, stacks of sheet metal, steel plates, angle iron, all the raw materials for vehicle repairs. Look at this. Randall was at a workbench. He held up a welding mask. Behind him was a full rig. Arc welder, tanks, electrodes. Does it work? I asked. He checked. Flipped switches. Nothing. No power. Generator? We searched, found it in a lean-to out back. Diesel generator, big industrial thing. It was covered in tarp, protected from the elements. I checked the fuel, 3/4 full. This'll draw attention, Randall said. The noise. I looked around. Empty desert in every direction. No movement, no sound except wind. From what? We're in the middle of nowhere. He nodded slowly. So we do it. Armor this thing. Make it a fortress. Yeah. Starting the generator took 20 minutes of priming and cranking. But it caught, rumbled to life. The sound was huge, echoing across the empty land. We both froze, listening, waiting. Nothing came. The garage lights flickered on. Pale fluorescent glow. Everything looked worse in the light. Rust and decay. But the tools worked. The welder sparked when Randall tested it. We spent the night planning, measuring the motor home, figuring out what needed protection. Windows, doors, wheel wells. The entire front end was already beaten to hell. We'd reinforce it, make it a battering ram. I found welding gloves, goggles. We cut the first sheet of metal around midnight. The sparks lit up the garage, bright against the darkness. It felt good, having a plan, having purpose. Not just running, not just surviving, building something. We worked for 3 days. Cut and measured and welded. The motorhome transformed. Steel plates over the windows, just narrow slits left to see through. The door reinforced. Heavy metal frame. We built a cow catcher for the front. Angled steel to deflect bodies, keep them from getting stuck. The generator ran constantly. We'd stop every few hours, listen, check outside. Still nothing. Like the world had emptied, like we were the last people left. On the third night, Randall asked about Lenora. Your wife, you mentioned her. Before. I was welding a seam, focused on keeping my hand steady. Yeah. You think she made it? I didn't answer right away. Just finished the weld, set the torch down, pulled off the mask. No. He didn't push it, just nodded. But I kept thinking about her, about our condo, the way she'd sit at her desk with coffee, the way she'd laugh at dumb movies, the way her hair smelled like lavender. All of it gone now. Probably. I pushed it down, focused on the work. By day 4, the motorhome looked like something from a war zone. Brutal angles, exposed welds, functional ugliness, but solid. We'd used everything useful from the garage. The generator was running on fumes. We shut it down, packed the motorhome with supplies, tools, extra fuel cans we'd filled from the generator, food from the garage's old break room, stale crackers and canned beans. Not much, but better than nothing. Randall found a road atlas in the garage office. Old paper thing, pre-GPS. He spread it on the hood. "Where to?" he asked. I traced the highways. We were west of the city, middle of nowhere. The border was maybe 200 miles south. Mexico. "There," I pointed. "You think it's better there?" "Only one way to find out." We left at dawn. The motorhome started rougher than before, but it started. We pulled back onto the highway, headed south. The landscape stayed empty. Desert and scrub, occasional towns, all of them dead. Literally, bodies in the streets. Buildings burned or collapsed. We didn't stop. Around noon, we passed an overturned military convoy. Humvees on their sides, supply trucks torn open. The soldiers were scattered, some still in uniform, all of them dead. Some starting to move again, slow crawling things. I gave them a wide berth, drove on the shoulder. Randall was quiet, staring out the slit window. "You okay?" I asked. "Thinking." About? About what happens if we get to the border and it's just more of the same. I didn't have an answer, because I'd been thinking the same thing. We reached the border around sunset. The crossing was massive. 10 lanes, concrete barriers, guard stations, inspection bays, all of it abandoned. And beyond it, Mexico. The same empty landscape stretching south. But no zombies. None walking the border. None clustered at the crossing. I drove through slowly, watching, waiting for something to move. Nothing did. "They all went south," Randall said. "Followed people, noise, movement. Or maybe there were just fewer people here to begin with." Either way, the border was empty. We crossed into Mexico, kept driving, found a gas station 20 miles in, pumps still working. We filled up, checked the road atlas. "We could keep going," Randall said. "Head to the coast, find a boat." "And go where?" "I don't know. Island? Somewhere isolated." I looked back north, toward the city, toward everything we'd left behind. "Or we go back." "What?" "The city. If they all came south, if they followed people this way, then the city might be empty now. Or close to it." Randall stared at me. "That's insane." "Maybe. But if there are survivors, if there's a chance to find other people, rebuild, it'd be there, not out here in the desert." He thought about it, looked south, then north. "You really want to go back?" I thought about Lenora, about our condo, about the small, stupid hope that maybe she'd made it, that maybe she was there, waiting. "Yeah." We turned around. The drive back took 2 days. We moved slower, stopped at towns along the way, scavenged, found more food, water, batteries, medical supplies. The motorhome was holding up, engine still rough but running. The armor had kept us safe. Zombies couldn't get through. We'd plow through small groups, keep moving. The city came into view on the 3rd morning. Smoke still rising, but thinner now. The buildings were intact, mostly. Some had collapsed, others burned. But the skyline was still there, recognizable. We entered from the south. Streets were clearer here, bodies but not hordes. Most of them had moved on, following the living, south to the border, beyond. It was eerie. The silence. A city of millions. Empty. Wind blowing trash down the streets. Cars sitting where they'd stopped. Windows broken. Blood dried on the pavement. We drove through downtown, past the Harlow Tower. The building looked different from ground level. Imposing. I thought about everyone we'd left up there. Porter, Tilda, the others. Wondered if any of them were still alive. Probably not. Where are we going? Randall asked. I don't know. Somewhere defensible. Somewhere we can see anyone coming. We found it near the old industrial district. A warehouse complex. 3 stories. Brick and concrete. The windows were high, narrow, doors were metal, heavy, and it was on a corner. Visibility in all directions. We parked in the loading bay, shut off the engine. The silence rushed in. Think anyone's here? Randall had his hand on the door, ready to run. Only one way to find out. We checked the building, went in through a side entrance, my letter opener in one hand. Randall had found a crowbar in the garage. We moved slow, checking corners, listening. The first floor was empty. Warehouse floor, concrete, support columns, loading equipment, all of it covered in dust. Second floor was offices, cubicles and conference rooms, empty. Third floor, that's where we found them, not zombies. People, real people. There were maybe 20 of them, set up in what used to be the break room, sleeping bags, supplies, a camp stove. They had guns, rifles and shotguns leaning against the walls. They saw us the second we came up the stairs. 3 of them pointed weapons at us. Stop right there. A man, older, gray beard. He held a hunting rifle, steady hands. Randall dropped the crowbar. I let the letter opener fall. We're alive, I said. Not infected. That's what they all say. Different voice. Woman. She had a pistol, aimed at my head. Please. We just got back to the city. We're looking for survivors. Got back? The bearded man lowered his rifle slightly. From where? The border. Mexico. We thought everyone went south. He exchanged looks with the others. Some of them relaxed, weapons lowering. Most did, he said. We stayed. Figured it'd be safer here, in the city, once the herds moved on. How many of you? Here, 23. There were other groups, scattered. We've been trying to make contact, set up something more permanent. Like what? A community, real one, with defenses, structure, not just surviving, living. It sounded too good, too easy. But looking at these people, at the supplies, the organization, maybe it was possible. We want to help, I said. The bearded man studied us. Long moment, then nodded. Okay, you can stay, but you follow our rules. Pull your weight, everyone contributes, everyone's armed. We take shifts on watch, no exceptions. Deal. He lowered the rifle completely, extended a hand. Name's Vernon. I shook it. Dalton. That your vehicle downstairs? The armored thing? Yeah. Useful. We could use something like that. For supply runs. It's yours, if we're staying. Vernon smiled. First genuine warmth I'd seen in days. Welcome to New Bastion. That's what we're calling it. Stupid name, but it stuck. The others came over, introduced themselves. There was Imogene, the woman with the pistol. She was ex-military, ran the security rotation. Tull, younger guy. He was in charge of supplies, rationing, making sure everyone ate. Kendra. She'd been a nurse. Now she handled injuries, sickness. They fed us. Canned soup heated on the camp stove. It was the best thing I'd eaten in a week. Randall and I got assigned to the 3rd floor. Sleeping bags near the windows, good sight lines. We'd take watch shifts. 4 hours on, 8 off. That night I stood at the window, looking out over the city. Most of it was dark. But here and there, lights, campfires, other survivors. Maybe we could do this. Maybe this could work. Dalton? Vernon came up beside me. He was holding something, a notebook. We keep a registry. Everyone who's here, who we've lost, who we're looking for. You got anyone? My wife, Lenora. Last name? Fisk. Lenora Fisk. He flipped through the pages, ran his finger down lists of names, stopped. Here. I looked. There it was. Her name, written in pencil. Next to it, alive, in ground floor, Building C. My heart stopped. She's here? Building C is 2 blocks east, another group. They're friendly. We trade with them. I can take you over tomorrow, if you want. I couldn't speak, just nodded. That night, I didn't sleep. Just lay in the sleeping bag, staring at the ceiling, thinking she was alive. Lenora was alive. 8 days ago, everything had ended. The world had died. And now, maybe it was starting again. Dawn came slowly, gray light filtering through the windows. I got up before anyone else. Vernon was already awake, drinking instant coffee. Ready? He asked. Yeah. We took 2 others, Imogene and Tull, for security. The streets were quiet, but you never knew. We walked, stayed in the middle of the road, away from buildings, away from shadows. Building C was an old apartment complex, 5 stories, brick facade, bars on the ground floor windows. The door was reinforced, steel plate welded over wood. Someone had spray-painted survivors on it in red. Vernon knocked. 3 times. Pause. 2 times. Pattern. Code. The door opened. A man looked out, saw Vernon, relaxed. Morning. This is Dalton, looking for his wife, Lenora Fisk. The man looked at me. Yeah, she's here. 3rd floor. Come on. We went inside. The building smelled like people, sweat and cooking and too many bodies in a small space. But it was alive. Real voices, movement, kids even. A couple of them running past in the hallway. 3rd floor. The man stopped at a door, knocked. Lenora, someone here for you? The door opened, and there she was. Thinner, hair longer, dark circles under her eyes, but alive. Real. Lenora. She saw me. Her face went blank, like she couldn't process it. Then tears. She came forward, grabbed me, held on. I held her back, buried my face in her hair. She smelled different, sweat and smoke. But it was her. I thought you were dead, she said, voice muffled against my chest. I thought you were too. We stood there, in the hallway, just holding each other. The world had ended. But this was still here. Vernon and the others left us alone. Gave us space. Lenora pulled back, looked at me. How did you get out? You were downtown, in the tower. Climbed down, found a motorhome, drove south, then came back. You came back? I had to know. She started crying again. Happy tears, relief. I was in the condo when it started. I locked the doors, stayed quiet. After a few days, I tried to leave, found other people. We came here, set this up. It's not much, but it's safe, mostly. It's enough. She led me inside. Her apartment, shared with 3 other women, sleeping bags, supplies, a little propane stove. They'd made it work. We talked for hours, catching up, filling in the gaps. She told me about the first days, the panic, the confusion, how fast it all fell apart. I told her about the tower, the climb, the garage, the border. We thought everyone went south, she said, that the city would be empty. That's why we stayed. Most did, but not all. What happens now? I thought about it, about New Bastion, about Vernon and Imogene and the others, about the motorhome, about the supplies and the defenses and the fragile structure they were building. Now we rebuild, together, all of us. The days that followed were busy. We consolidated, brought the groups together. New Bastion grew, 50 people, then 70. We found more survivors, Some came to us, others we found on supply runs. The motorhome became essential. We'd drive out, scavenge, bring back food and medicine and tools. Lenora and I moved into a room in the warehouse. 3rd floor, corner spot. We had a window, a mattress, some privacy. It wasn't much, but it was ours. We set up rules. Structure. Everyone had a job. Some people ran security, others cooked. Some handled medical, some taught the kids. We had 12 children, orphans mostly. We took care of them. Vernon became the de facto leader. He was good at it. Calm, fair. People listened to him. Imogene ran the fighters. We had 30 people who could handle weapons. We trained them, set up perimeters, watch posts. The city wasn't empty. We learned that quick. There were still thousands of them, scattered, wandering, but manageable. We avoided the big hordes, stayed quiet, moved smart. And there were other threats, living ones. 3 weeks in, we encountered another group, not friendly. They called themselves the Jackals. Maybe 24, heavily armed. They tried to raid us, wanted our supplies, our women. Vernon negotiated. Imogene backed him up. We showed force, made it clear we'd fight. They left, but they'd be back. We fortified, built walls, used cars and concrete barriers, made checkpoints. The warehouse became a fortress. At night, I'd lay with Lenora, in our little room, listening to the sounds of the compound. People talking, someone playing guitar, kids laughing. "You think we'll make it?" she asked one night. "I don't know." Honest answer. Honest answer. "I think we have a chance. Better than before. Better than alone." She was quiet. Then, "I'm pregnant." I didn't move, didn't breathe. "What?" "About 6 weeks, I think. It's hard to know for sure. A baby, in this world, this broken, dead world." "Are you sure?" "Yeah." Kendra confirmed it. She did a test. One of the ones we found on a supply run. I didn't know what to feel. Fear, joy, terror. All of it at once. "What do we do?" I asked. "We keep going. We build this place, make it safe, for them." She put her hand on her stomach. Flat still. Nothing showing, but life there. Growing. Okay. Yeah, we make it work." She kissed me, long and slow. When she pulled back, she was smiling. First real smile since everything happened. "We're going to be okay," she said. I wanted to believe her. The pregnancy changed things, made it real. The future? We weren't just surviving anymore. We were planning, building something that would last beyond us. Vernon called a meeting, told everyone about Lenora, about the baby, about what it meant. "This is a symbol," he said, "of hope, of continuation. We're not just the last generation, we're the first of the next one." People cheered, actually cheered. It felt surreal. In the middle of hell, people celebrating new life. But it also made us a target. The Jackals came back. Bigger group this time, maybe 40. They hit us at dawn. Coordinated attack. We were ready. Imogene had set up defenses, kill zones, overlapping fields of fire. When they breached the outer wall, we were waiting. The fight lasted maybe 20 minutes. Felt like hours. Gunfire, screaming, smoke. I was on the 2nd floor. Rifle we'd scavenged from a police station. Shooting through a slit window, aiming for center mass. The way Imogene had taught us. I killed 3 people that day. Real people, not zombies. Living humans. It didn't feel like victory. When it was over, we had casualties. 2 dead, 5 wounded. But we'd held. The Jackals retreated, left their dead behind. We burned the bodies. Couldn't risk them turning. Even though none of them were bitten. Just shot. We burned them anyway. That night was quiet, subdued. The reality settling in. We'd have to do this again. And again. As long as there were people out there who wanted to take instead of build. We need to reach out, Vernon said, to the other groups, form alliances, strengthen numbers. What if they're like the jackals? Someone asked. Then we deal with it. But if we don't try, if we stay isolated, we'll die alone. He was right. We couldn't do this forever. Not by ourselves. Over the next month we made contact, sent out parties, met other communities. Some were hostile. We avoided them. Others were cautious but open. We traded, shared information, slowly, carefully. An alliance formed. The coalition, that's what we called it. 6 groups, 300 people total. We set up trade routes, communication. If one group was attacked, the others would help. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Lenora's pregnancy progressed. She showed now, the bump visible. Kendra monitored her, made sure everything was okay. We'd found prenatal vitamins on a pharmacy run. Not many, but enough. The due date was sometime in March. 3 months away. We prepared. Cleared a room on the first floor, made it as sterile as possible. Boiled sheets, gathered supplies. Kendra had done deliveries before. But that was in a hospital, with equipment, backup. This would be different. I tried not to think about all the things that could go wrong. December brought cold, real cold. The warehouse wasn't insulated. We burned anything we could find, wood, furniture, books. Kept the fires small. Didn't want smoke giving away our position. Food was getting scarce. The cities had been picked clean. We had to range further, into the suburbs, rural areas. The motorhome made it possible. We'd load up, drive out 50 miles, hit small towns, farms, anywhere people might have stored food. It was dangerous. Zombies were still everywhere outside the city, hordes wandering aimlessly. We'd learn to avoid them, stay quiet, move fast. But sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes they'd hear the engine, start following. We'd have to floor it, outrun them, hope the motorhome held together. It always did. That ugly armored box, rusted and dented and held together with welds. But it ran. I drove most of the supply runs. Randall came with me. We'd become a good team. He'd spot, I'd drive. We barely had to talk. Just hand signals and shared understanding. On one run we found something strange. An old military checkpoint, middle of nowhere. 2 Humvees, a tent. Abandoned like everything else. But inside the tent, equipment, radio gear, still powered. Batteries somehow still charged. Randall flipped switches, static, then voices. Repeat, safe zone established, grid coordinates. We listened. It was a broadcast. Looping. Someone out there was transmitting, calling for survivors, offering safety. Should we respond? Randall asked. I thought about it, about responding, about the risk. What if it was a trap? What if it was real? No, not yet. Let's tell Vernon, see what he thinks. We brought the radio back. Vernon called a meeting, played the broadcast. Everyone listened. Opinions split. Some wanted to go, to check it out. Others said it was too risky, that we should stay, keep building what we had. Vernon let everyone speak, then made a decision. We send a small group, scout it. If it's real, we come back, tell everyone. If it's not, we know to stay away. Who goes? Imogene asked. Volunteers? I raised my hand. So did Randall, and 3 others. Imogene insisted on coming too. Someone had to keep us safe. We left the next morning. 6 of us in the motorhome. Radio gear in back. We'd follow the coordinates, see what we found. The drive took 2 days. We headed east, into mountains. The roads got worse. Snow started falling. We almost turned back. But the broadcast kept looping, kept calling. We found it in a valley, the safe zone. It wasn't what I expected. Military base, old one, probably National Guard, high fences, guard towers, and lights. Real electric lights. Generator hum audible even from outside. And people, dozens of them, walking around, organized, normal. We approached slowly. The gate was manned. Soldiers, actual soldiers in uniform. They had weapons, but they didn't point them at us. One of them came forward. "You here because of the broadcast?" "Yeah." "How many in your group?" "6, but we represent more, back in the city." He nodded. Nitso talked into a radio. Then, "Come on in. Commander will want to talk to you." The gate opened. We drove through. Inside was surreal. Order, structure, tents set up in rows, people working, gardens, water collection, solar panels. They'd built something real. The commander was a woman, Colonel Reardon, hard eyes, strong grip. "Welcome. You're the first to respond to the broadcast." "How long have you been here?" I asked. "Since the beginning. We were running exercises when it hit. Went into lockdown, held out. When things stabilized, we started broadcasting, hoping to find others." "How many survivors you have?" "Here, about 200. We've had reports of more, all over. It's not over. Humanity's not done." It was the most hopeful thing I'd heard in months. We talked for hours. Reardon explained. They had supplies, medical, defensive capability. But they needed people. Skilled workers, farmers, engineers, teachers. They were building a community, a real one, sustainable. "We'd like to establish contact with your group," she said. "Trade, share resources, maybe eventually relocate." "Relocate?" "The city's a dead zone. Long term, it's not viable. Too many infected, too few resources. Out here, mountains, isolation, it's safer. We could accommodate your people, if they wanted to come." I thought about New Bastion, about Lenora, the baby coming, about Vernon and Imogene and everyone else. "I need to talk to them. Bring them here, let them see." "Of course. Take as long as you need." We stayed one night, slept in real beds, ate hot food. It felt like a dream. The next morning we headed back, made the drive in one long push, got to New Bastion after dark. Vernon listened to everything, the whole report. When we finished, he sat back, thinking. "What do you want to do?" he asked me. "I don't know. It's safe there. Real infrastructure. But we've built something here. Leaving feels like giving up." "It's not giving up. It's surviving. That's all we've been doing. Maybe it's time to do more. To thrive." We called a vote. Let everyone decide. Some wanted to stay, make a stand in the city. Most wanted to go. See the safe zone, at least check it out. In the end, we decided to split. Half would go first. Scout. If it was good, they'd send word. The rest would follow. I was in the first group. Lenora was 6 months pregnant. Couldn't risk the city. We needed real medical care. 50 of us left. Convoy of vehicles. The motorhome leading. We looked like refugees, which I guess we were. The drive was hard. Winter had set in. Snow and ice. We lost 2 vehicles. Broke down. Couldn't fix them. We redistributed people. Kept going. We reached the safe zone a week later. Colonel Reardon met us at the gate. Welcomed us. Showed us to our quarters. Tents at first. But they were building cabins. Real structures. Lenora and I got a tent near the medical facility. Close to Kendra. Just in case. Life at the safe zone was different. regimented. Everyone had jobs, schedules. It was military but not oppressive. Just organized. After months of chaos, it felt good. Structure, predictability. I worked on the motorhome, maintenance, repairs. They wanted to use it for long-range supply runs. I made sure it stayed functional. Randall joined the security team. Imogene too. They patrolled, kept watch, made sure nothing got through the fence. Word went back to New Bastion. The rest came. Vernon, the others. By January, the whole group had relocated. 300 people now in the safe zone. We started building. Real buildings, with foundations. The mountains provided timber, stone. We quarried, cut, hauled. It was hard work, but meaningful. Lenora went into labor on a cold night in March. I was outside when it started. Working on a cabin roof, someone came running. "It's time." I dropped everything, ran to the medical tent. Kendra was already there, prepped, ready. "You can stay if you want," she said, "but you have to stay calm." I stayed, held Lenora's hand, watched. It took 12 hours, long, painful, but no complications. Kendra knew what she was doing. Our daughter was born just before dawn, small, red, screaming, perfect. Lenora held her, crying, exhausted. "What do we name her?" I looked at the baby, at this tiny person we'd brought into this broken world. "Hope." Lenora smiled. "Hope Fisk. I like it." The whole compound celebrated. New life, real new life, not just survival, continuation, future. Hope changed everything, made it concrete. We weren't building for ourselves, we were building for her, for all the kids. For generations that would come after. The safe zone grew, more survivors trickled in, following the broadcast, following rumors. By summer, we had 500 people. We'd built a school, a clinic, workshops, farms, solar arrays for power, water collection systems. It was becoming a town, not civilization, not yet, but something close. The zombies were still out there, hordes roaming, but fewer now. Time and elements were taking their toll. Bodies rotting, falling apart. In another few years, they might be gone. Just scattered remnants, manageable. Other safe zones popped up. We made contact, established trade routes, communication networks. Humanity was rebuilding, scattered, fragmented, but rebuilding. I think about that morning sometimes. Day 1, 37 floors up, watching the world end. How hopeless it felt. How certain I was that nothing would survive. But here we are, Lenora and I and Hope, in a valley in the mountains, with hundreds of others, building, living, not just surviving anymore. The motorhome sits in the garage, retired mostly. We keep it maintained, just in case. But it doesn't get used much. Don't need it anymore. We have what we need here. Sometimes I look at it, at the scarred metal and rusted welds, at the armor we built in that desert garage, and I remember the climb, the drive, the fear, the desperation. All of it led here, to safety, to family, to something like hope. The world ended, but we didn't, and that's enough, for now. That's enough. Vernon called another meeting last week. Spring of year 2. He stood in front of everyone, in the mess hall we'd built, log walls, wood stove, real furniture. "We've done good," he said. "Better than I thought possible. We've survived. We've built. We have children being born, crops growing, structure. But we can't stay isolated forever. We need to keep expanding, keep reaching out. There are other people out there, other communities. We need to unite them, form something bigger, something that lasts." People murmured. Some agreed, others were cautious. Expansion meant risk. meant potentially hostile encounters. I'm not saying we rush into anything, Vernon continued, but we need to think long-term. 5 years, 10 years. What do we want this place to be? A single village? Or the seed of something more? The debate went on for hours. I sat with Lenora, Hope asleep in her arms, listening. Finally, Vernon called for a vote. Who was willing to support expansion? Who wanted to stay as we were? 3/4 voted to expand. All right, Vernon said. We'll form an expeditionary team, small group. They'll make contact with other settlements, establish diplomatic relations, trade agreements, mutual defense pacts. We'll do this smart, careful, but we'll do it. I volunteered, so did Randall and Imogene. We knew the territory, knew how to survive out there. It made sense. Lenora wasn't happy. You just got back. Hope barely knows you. I know, but this matters. Building something that lasts, for her. She understood. Didn't like it, but understood. We left the next week. Team of 8, 2 vehicles, the motorhome and a pickup truck we'd armored. Supplies for 2 months, maps, radio gear. We'd follow the old highways, make contact with anyone we found. The first settlement was 30 miles west. Small group, maybe 40 people. Living in an old ski lodge, they were friendly, welcomed us. We talked terms. They'd send people to the safe zone, learn our farming techniques. We'd provide medical support, trade goods. It went well. The second settlement was trickier, larger group, over 100, led by a man named Caspian Thorne. He was suspicious, defensive. His people were well armed, disciplined. They'd been military, special forces maybe. They'd carved out territory, defended it ruthlessly. Thorne didn't trust us, thought we were scouting for a raid. Took hours of talking to convince him otherwise. Imogene helped. She spoke his language, tactical, direct, no bullshit. Eventually, he agreed to meet Vernon. Neutral ground, discuss cooperation. We moved on. Over 6 weeks, we contacted 12 settlements, population ranging from 20 to 200. Some agreed to join the network. Others remained independent but friendly. A few were hostile. We avoided conflict, marked them on the map, moved on. One place stood out. It was a town, real town. Pre-apocalypse population, maybe 5,000. Now held by about 300 survivors. They called it Haven. Descriptive, if unoriginal. Haven was different, organized, democratic. They had elected officials, laws, a functioning economy based on barter. They'd even started a newspaper, hand-printed, weekly updates. The leader was a woman named Calliope Drake, former teacher, smart, pragmatic. She welcomed us, showed us around, schools, hospital, workshops. They'd done everything right. We've heard about your safe zone, she said. The broadcasts. We've been debating whether to make contact. Why haven't you? Uncertainty. We don't know who you are, what you want. In this world, trust is expensive. We want to rebuild, form a network, strength through cooperation. Idealistic. Maybe, but it's working. She considered. I'll propose it to the council, see what they think. But I'll be honest, we're doing well on our own. The question is whether joining a larger network benefits us, or just adds complications. Fair enough. We stayed 3 days, met with their council, answered questions, shared information. In the end, they agreed, tentatively. They'd send a delegation to our safe zone, see it firsthand, then decide. It was the best we could hope for. We returned home in late spring, loaded with information, maps, contact lists, trade agreements. Vernon was pleased. The network was growing. The delegation from Haven arrived a week later. 6 people, including Calliope Drake. Vernon gave them the full tour, showed them everything: our defenses, farms, school, medical facilities, the cabins we'd built, the workshops. They were impressed, especially with the children. We had 30 now, born after the collapse or brought by survivors. They represented something Haven didn't have yet: a next generation. The delegation stayed 2 weeks. At the end, Calliope made her decision. We'll join. Full cooperation, trade, defense, information sharing. But we maintain autonomy. We're not a subordinate. We're partners. Agreed, Vernon said. They shook hands. It was official. The network had its first major settlement. Over the summer, 3 more joined. By fall, we had 20 settlements in the network. Total population, over 1,500. We established regular supply convoys, shared resources, defended each other against threats. The Jackals tried raiding again, hit a smaller settlement on the network's edge, burned crops, took supplies, killed 2 people. We responded. Combined force from 5 settlements, 50 fighters. Imogene led them. They tracked the Jackals to their camp, old warehouse in the ruins of a suburb. I was part of the team. So was Randall. We'd been there from the start. Felt right to see it through. The attack was quick, coordinated. We hit at dawn, surrounded the warehouse, gave them one chance to surrender. They refused, fought back. It was brutal. Close quarters, gunfire echoing in the enclosed space. When it was over, 13 Jackals were dead. The rest surrendered. We took their weapons, supplies, gave them a choice: join the network, follow the rules, or leave. Permanently. Most left, a few stayed. Broken, willing to try something different. We burned the warehouse, sent a message. The network wasn't prey. We'd defend ourselves, aggressively if necessary. After that, the raid stopped. Word spread. The network was too strong, too organized. Easier to join than fight. By winter of year 3, the network had doubled. 40 settlements, over 3,000 people. We'd established a council, representatives from each major settlement. They met quarterly, discussed policy, resolved disputes. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Lenora and I had a second child, a son, born in December. We named him Everest, strong name for strong times. Hope was walking now, talking. Growing up in a world so different from the one I'd known. But for her, it was normal, the only world she'd ever know. She didn't remember the before times, the cities, the crowds, the abundance. For her, this was life. Community, hard work, simple pleasures. Maybe that was better. The motorhome finally broke down. Spring of year 4, engine seized. Too much wear, too many miles. We stripped it for parts, used the metal for other projects, but we kept the frame as a monument, reminder of where we'd come from. I'd walk past it sometimes, run my hand over the scarred plating. Remember that desperate welding session in the desert, the drive to the border, the return to the city. It felt like a lifetime ago. Different person, different world. Randall got married. Woman named Estrid from one of the outer settlements. Good match. They moved to a cabin near ours. We'd have dinner together, talk, laugh, normal life, or close to it. The zombies were almost gone. We'd see one occasionally, wandering alone, rotted down to bone and scraps of flesh, easy to dispatch. No longer a real threat, just remnants. Echoes of the plague that had ended civilization. New threats emerged: disease, starvation in harder winters, conflicts between settlements. But nothing we couldn't handle. We'd learned, adapted, built systems to manage it. The network kept growing. By year 5, we had 80 settlements, 7,000 people. We'd started mining operations, logging, manufacturing, basic industry returning. We had a printing press, medical lab, even a small brewery. Luxuries were coming back. Vernon stepped down, age catching up. He'd led well, given everything. The council elected Calliope Drake to replace him. First network-wide leader. She was good, better than Vernon in some ways, more diplomatic, better at seeing long-term. Under her leadership, the network expanded beyond the mountains, into the plains. We made contact with other large survivor groups, some coastal, some in the south. Thousands more people. Talks started about reunification, not going back to what was, but building something new. Federation of communities, shared defense, shared resources, but local autonomy, each settlement running itself, united only in crisis. It was ambitious, maybe too ambitious, but we were trying. Year 6, Hope started school, real school, with teachers and books we'd salvaged or reprinted. She learned reading, math, history, not just survival skills, actual education. I'd watch her sometimes. Sitting with the other kids, focused, learning. And I'd think about that morning in the Harlow Tower, about how certain I'd been that everything was ending. But it hadn't. It had changed, transformed, but not ended. We were still here, still fighting, still building. The motorhome's frame finally got moved, turned into part of a playground. The armor plating became slides, the chassis a climbing structure. Kids played on it every day, including Hope and Everest. They didn't know what it had been, what it represented. To them, it was just equipment, background. But I knew. Lenora knew. Randall and Imogene and Vernon knew. All of us who'd been there from the start. We'd survived, against impossible odds, through luck and determination and desperation. We'd made it. And we'd built something worth surviving for. That's enough. That's more than enough. Year 7 brought new challenges. Drought in the south, crop failures. We sent supplies, water purification equipment, seeds for drought-resistant plants. The network supported its members. Year 8, we made contact with survivors from across the ocean. Europeans. They'd survived too. Built their own networks. Radio communication was spotty but improving. Talk of sending ships, re-establishing global contact. It seemed impossible, but so had everything else. Year 9. Hope was 8, Everest was 6. They were growing up strong, healthy. Lenora and I had grayed, aged. But we were still here, still together. The settlement we'd called a safe zone wasn't safe anymore. It was home, a town, population pushing 2,000. We had streets, addresses, a government building where the council met. It wasn't the old world, but it was ours. Sometimes I'd stand on the wall, look out at the valley, at the farms and cabins and people going about their lives. And I'd think about Dalton Fisk, the actuary, the man who calculated risks, who sat at a desk on the 37th floor. That man was gone, dead in the Harlow Tower. I was someone else now. Survivor, builder, father, part of something larger. The world had ended, but we'd begun again. Different, smaller, but maybe better. More honest, more connected. I don't know what the next 10 years hold. More challenges, more growth, more losses. That's life. Always has been, always will be. But we'll face it. Together. As a community, as a network, as humanity rebuilding itself from the ashes. That's the story. How I armored a motorhome, how I survived, how we all survived. It's not over, never will be, but it's good. It's enough. and standing here, on this wall, in this place we've built. I'm grateful for the chance, for the fight, for the future we're creating. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one weld at a time. That's how we did it. That's how we'll keep doing it. The motorhome's gone, recycled into swings and slides. But its purpose remains. It carried us, protected us, brought us home. And now it carries our children into play, into laughter, into tomorrow. That's legacy. That's meaning. That's why we fought so hard to survive. For this. For them. For the possibility that humanity could be better, could do better, could build something worth passing on. We did it. Against all odds. We fucking did it. And I'd do it all again. Every terrifying moment. Every desperate decision. Every mile in that ugly armored box. Because it led here, to Lenora, to Hope and Everest, to this community, to this life. That's enough. That's everything. The end and the beginning. Always both. Always forward. Always fighting. Always building. Welcome to the new world. We made it ourselves.